Yeah, it's interesting how clear you are about, again, being helpful, which is why at the beginning of this talk, I wanted to make sure that I highlighted my experience with you and watching you behave with other people as a person who is like kind and a good listener, right? So it backs into this very neatly in my mind because that's what I believe entrepreneurs or people who are starting businesses often for the second and third time know that they need somebody who's willing to listen, right, and wants to be helpful. Because without those two things, like, you might as well just continue to go at it alone.
Well, a lot of those folks get humbled along the journey.
Correct.
When you're on your second and third and fourth venture. But for the record, they say that like you hit it and you ascend. I think they say after like your fifth venture or something like that. And I think there's a reason behind that. Like there are a lot of reasons behind that. And so
that's a great stat. All right, welcome back to another episode of Stay Sharp Podcast. My name is Rashad Tyler, one half of the RAIRE Label squad based in New Orleans, Louisiana. I have a good friend joining us today for a conversation I think that will be useful to a lot of us, particularly because he's the fund manager for High Street Equity Partners. He is a brilliant money man. He's a fantastic human. Welcome to the pod, Mitch Brooks.
I appreciate that, man.
Thanks for man. How you feeling today?
I'm good. It's good to be in New Orleans. It's one of my favorite cities, bro.
Yeah, man. So quick story before we get into. So last night, me and Mitch connect, and we walked downtown. We talked about this on the pod quite a bit. So like where we live and like where I asked him to book his hotel, it's like blocks away. So I get a little overzealous and I have us walk maybe 5 or 6 miles last night. By the time we get back, we're sweating. So I owe you an apology.
Oh, that's good. It was good to see the city, man, to take in the city. And good conversation along the way, bro.
Yeah, man. That's good. Yeah, the definition of a walk and talk. So I want to build on what I shared about being a good person, right? I mean, I think of like the reality of how people exist in money spaces it's really not widely inherited good behavior and practice and ethics in terms of how we see people who are dominant with money, right? We typically think of politicians, bankers, Wall Street professionals, these types of people, venture capitalists, as, I don't know, we just question where their morals sit. You, especially when I'm in rooms where you're just leading, you are very thoughtful and compassionate, right? So I want to make sure I kind of double down on that part of it, but there's a synergy, I believe, with how you behave as it relates to people, how responsible you think of people and their money, and how you think of us managing a fund and how that works. And also how maybe your thoughts about how you go about the world are connected to all of these things. Can you kind of share maybe how you've come to be, your mindset has come to be in terms of behavior and relationship to money?
Well, I think that it comes from who we surround ourselves with.
It's a fact.
And like the examples we have and sort of just how we take in information and how we take in lessons learned. And so I give all gratitude to just how God has allowed me, put me in this world, and then allowed me to navigate this world, to have positive influences for all of that to happen, man. And so I think it starts like with how your folks raise you, and how, you know, they teach you lessons about how to think about that. And, you know, taking into consideration, you know, growing up, I grew up in a working class family.
Yeah.
But I think that they still had like a strong sense of who they were in spite of. And as folks started to make moves throughout life, it was like, these things are still core principles,
Right,
of how you need to approach this.
are there core principles that you think of or that you would share with people that you think like, yo, if you obey these handful of concepts, you'll be able to frame yourself or position yourself for a better life and a better relationship with money and earning and behaving when you get a win? Because not everybody behaves well when they get a win, right?
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
financially.
Yeah, yeah. I grew up learning that money and power exposes who you were the entire time.
Yeah.
And so the idea, if it's like if the foundation of who you are is a good, loving, compassionate person,
Yeah.
but also serious about what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish, like, money shouldn't corrupt that, though it does for some, but it should sort of illuminate what was there the entire time, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
you know, my thoughts on it is, you know, teaching, and I don't even know if I can say teaching, man, but when I raise my children, I'll say it this way: when I raise my children, I want to teach them how to care about someone, regardless of who they are, how to respect someone, and you know, show compassion to someone, regardless of like whether it's the president of the United States or someone you walk by on the street. And I think that if those things can form in the right way, then I think that as you excuse me, as you get resources and as you get money, then you're able to use it for good, man.
Right.
You're able to do the right things with it.
I mean, see, even on top of that, right? Because I think, oddly enough, this kind of centers on like ego and how ego will drive you to want to earn, right? And then your reaction to the world when they may have doubted your ability to get there, how you behave there. But we can kind of come back to that.
We can open that can of worms.
Well, I got another question that's around that, and it may tie in like really neatly. I think you're often like the smartest guy in the room.
That's a very...
I've been in a lot of rooms with you, and you're the smartest guy in the room a lot. So when I think about that, I go, well, you have the room to, or the choice to leverage your voice, and the ego will speak loud to that, right? You'll go like, well, shit, I know better than everybody in here. I should be leading the conversation. I should be pushing my agenda.
I got you.
But instead, I've seen you probe and coach and allow other people to have voices and make sure that you're in a spot where you're the biggest learner. Or at least that's how I perceive it. Do you have like a way that you're actually going about your behavior, thoughts, and how you navigate conversations when you probably know you know more than everybody else?
Well, I believe that we can learn something from anyone.
Yeah.
And some of the realest advice and counsel that I've received have been, like, truthfully, literally, me walking down the street and someone asking me for change or me giving them a meal.
Yeah.
And the reality is that those people have been through real shit,
Correct,
real life.
Correct.
And, you know, I get unsolicited advice or like just a random quick conversation. I'm like, damn, that's gonna stay with me.
Yeah.
And so I'm going through life with that as the foundation, bro. Like, regardless of who you are, like, I can learn from you and I can pick something up from you.
But you accept what I'm saying about, like, you have the option to be like, you know, to not hear, but not just not hear, but to be the advisor. because you're an advisor to a lot of people. Like I really come to you with a lot of problems. Right? You help me solve a lot of things. So it's just not lost on me that, you know, there are people that I know that are far less useful, that are much more eager to give.
I got you. Yeah, I'm reading into that. So the question is, like, I acknowledge that that's the case.
Yeah.
And is the question like, why? What do you?
Because I'll set it up this way. I believe that there are people that always want to tell people what they should know or what they should do, and they're never the smartest person in the room. So from the smartest person in the room, you choose to operate a totally different way. And I guess to the extent that we could possibly share ways to be a little bit more humble and a little bit more, even if it was the opposite approach where your ego is driving how you behave and you say, you know what, like, I'm so smart, I'm going to learn from everybody else, that's fine too.
I actually think that is what the smartest person in the room should be doing.
Yeah.
I think that they should be talking less and listening more.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm able to give advice because I've listened so much from so many people.
Yeah.
On what went well for them, what went bad for them, and I'm able to be like, oh, like I'm processing it. So I'm learning from the folks around me. And I do think that allows folks to be able to, you know, when I talk to you, I'm like, hey man, like this is what I've seen or this is what I've heard before. And I'll let you know these are my experiences, but also like, this is my homie experiences or this is my friend experiences. And so, you know, I can get why some folks do that though. I think that for some, I think the more you talk, the more you feel like you're building confidence in you, and you're getting confidence from others in what you're doing and what you're saying.
Because of what they don't know.
Yeah.
You start to pump yourself up.
Yeah. So I get it. And I don't judge it. I think that it can sort of manifest in some good ways, right? Like there are some folks that like once they have the confidence they need, man, like they can go out and accomplish great things and conquer the world.
Right.
And so I totally see it and get it, and I think it makes sense psychologically. But for me, like my type of leadership, I just feel like strongly, like great leaders, before you become a great leader, you look to figure out how you can make yourself successful. And once you sort of are in a place to be a great leader, you figure out how to help make other people successful. And so my whole vibe now is like, how can I listen? How can I support in order to help make other people as successful as possible?
So there's a couple things I want to piggyback on. Number one, I watch how you're charting the path for High Street, which has been a joy to not only be a part of, but a joy to watch and learn from. But I believe that the way that you approach things, because, well, let me say this too. I've never gotten the sense that you are waiting for someone else to finish their sentence or say what they say so that you can get your turn to speak.
Gotcha.
Like it's never that, right?
Gotcha.
But I think that also opens the alleyways for you to be a person who can help us all understand venture and understand the space. You just make it far less intimidating than, I don't know, seeing it on TV or watching or hearing about investments and sizes of money that are going out to different people. Whether that is typically some Ivy League white kid who, you know, comes from money but also knows how to go get $1 billion from some group of other white guys who are in quote unquote Silicon Valley. So can you kind of share maybe why you believe that you're able to communicate the space a little bit more, like make it a little bit more approachable for folks, and maybe past that, explain a little bit about what the venture space is and how people can participate from an investment standpoint.
Yeah, like I read Steve Jobs' book, and Jobs talked about how he had a gift to take very complex things and make it simple.
Yes.
And that manifested in the form of like the design of things.
Yes.
The Mac and the iPod and stuff like that. But it extrapolates to like everything in reality. And so my thing when I'm learning, I'm trying to figure out like, all right, I want to learn as deeply and as much as possible, but I don't really know it until I can explain it to like my young niece and nephew.
Right.
And like go in their classrooms and explain what a venture capital is.
Right.
Or until I can explain it to like grandparents or something like that.
Right. Right.
And so I'm from the onset, like I'm trying to be able to learn it in a way where I can simplify it.
Right.
And so I feel like that's sort of the genesis of it. It's like how I'm trying to get into the space, or I'm trying to learn about it, or as I was, right? And I find that when we do that, like we can communicate and translate to so many different people, man. So I can, bring in new investors into the space. I can bring in folks that like have an amazing skill set. They may be like former CIA, they may be music executives,
right.
They may be in the
right.
beauty industry,
right.
But I'm able to sort of see their transferable skills and try to communicate like, you should be in this space.
Right.
Like you can really do damage in this space in a good way. And so I think that's sort of the foundation of it. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish with it, bro.
Well, can you kind of explain two parts, I guess? Can you share a fast summary of what venture capital is, right? Like how it functions and who it helps, and also some context on how High Street intends to be a useful organization, and why you? Well, let's keep it right there. Like how High Street, in terms, it looks to impact the space as a great organization in addition to the ones that already exist.
Yeah. So at a high level, venture capital is looking to invest in entrepreneurs and looking to be able to help them to grow their business. And there are a lot of ways you can get investments. You can get money from a bank, you can get a loan from friends and family, and that money will help you to accomplish or grow the idea is that it'll help you to grow your idea.
Right.
But you aren't necessarily getting help and support with that.
Right.
And so I would sort of simplify, that's the biggest distinction, is that venture capitalists will help to open doors for you. They'll help to give you advice and counsel along the way. They'll help to give you resources as you're trying to build your team. Like they have those relationships and networks to do that.
So you think of venture, the way that it was introduced to me a long time ago was like trying to get smarter money, but sometimes at a steeper cost.
There's some truth to that. I think there's some pros and cons to it, right?
Yeah.
So if you're looking to retain 100% of your company, then VC ain't for you.
Right.
Because a part of the trade-off with that is that you're comfortable and open with sharing some of that equity with whoever the VC.
Yeah.
And the idea is that like you have a $2 million firm and you own 100% of it, but this VC firm will help you to become a $10 million firm, right? And so I think I'm very clear that there are pros and cons to all sides of things, and it's a matter of like what's best for you and what you're trying to accomplish long term. You being like the entrepreneur.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. I want to try and add some color to this too, at least from the way that I see it, which is to say, when I mention smart money, it is money that comes with the ability to be a little bit more than just cash in hand, right? You can go get some money from a bank, but a bank may not have relationships that will help you better position your company or better sell your product.
That's right.
Right. So smart money will be the combination of both of those things, right? Which is kind of what
That's right.
you were saying about what High Street looks to do. Can you kind of
That's
explain a little bit more about like how High Street is constructed, who High Street looks to help and support?
Yeah, yeah. So we're investing in technology focused companies
Yeah.
that are led by women, Black and brown entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And the idea is that there's not enough capital flowing to support those entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And there's data that supports like this is one of the best investments you can make, which is like amazing to me. And I think at the foundation of that, underrepresented folks know how to do more with less. And so when you have a group of like smart and sharp entrepreneurs and they know how to do more with a dollar than other folks that are just sort of used to getting it, it makes you want to support that, and it makes you want to grow that.
Yeah.
Like at the foundation of it, that's what it is. And you know, for anyone that's an entrepreneur that like has an amazing idea where technology is at the core of how you want to grow and scale that,
Yeah.
then I think that they should talk to folks like High Street, or they should talk to venture capitalists that want to support their vision.
Right. So I'm, again, very fortunate to be a venture partner at High Street, meaning I put in some money and I actually work to make sure that we continue to be smart money,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
when somebody gets money from High Street, they get the added ecosystem that we've formulated as a
That's
group,
right. That's right.
The skills of the individual
Yeah.
players inside of our firm to, again, help you move the ball further down the field for your firm and whatever it is that you're selling. But I want to ask you if there are ways that you believe entrepreneurs are typically shying away from or intimidated by the venture space. And maybe we can add or share some tips about how we treat and behave towards people who are not quite ready for venture funding. Because that's another thing too. I think you may not know how to build a company, but you may have a kick-ass idea. And we want to, in some cases, help nurture the entrepreneur so that you can be more ready for funding if you can get your company in that sort of a spot. But
that's deep. So I have thoughts on that. I'm actually very interested to hear your thoughts on that, because I know, you know, you getting involved with High Street Equity Partners, like we shared a vision around like how to go about that. And so I actually am interested in your thoughts on that. On my end, like speaking to entrepreneurs that's sort of hesitant or maybe just don't know enough about it yet, like kind of interested but not sure, my thought would be to have an intro call and to speak with us or to speak with anyone. You know, fortunately there's a growing number of firms in the space like us, and it's my belief that like all of us collaborating and working together to support more women and Black and brown entrepreneurs, like the better the space is, right? And so I'm looking to be much more collaborative about like how we see this big picture, right? And so my first thought would be to have an intro call. And what you'll find with us is that when you speak with us, we're looking to learn like about who you are, why you're doing this, what's your vision for it. And, you know, our first thought in that is that we want to be a champion and cheerleader for you.
Correct.
So whether you get venture dollars from us or not, we still want to be able to know enough about you to carry you in rooms with us as we have other meetings with other partners to say, you know what, you should speak to those folks that have this type of business.
Right.
Like, I think that there's some synergy there. I think there should be some collaboration and partnership there.
Yeah.
And so I think at a minimum, I think it's worth that. I think it's worth sharing with folks what you do and how you do it, so that they can be supporters and cheerleaders for what you're doing. And I think that just beautiful things will grow and come from that.
Yeah.
In addition to the idea of getting funding and getting an investment partner.
Yeah, it's interesting how clear you are about, again, being helpful, which is why at the beginning of this talk, I wanted to make sure that I highlighted my experience with you and watching you behave with other people as a person who is like kind and a good listener, right? So it backs into this very neatly in my mind, because that's what I believe entrepreneurs or people who are starting businesses often for the second and third time know that they need somebody who's willing to listen, right, and wants to be helpful. Because without those two things, like, you might as well just continue to go at it alone.
Well, a lot of those folks get humbled along the journey.
Correct.
When you're on your second and third and fourth venture. But for the record, they say that, like, you hit it and you ascend. I think they say after, like, your fifth venture or something like that. And I think there's a reason behind that. Like, there are a lot of reasons behind that. And so,
that's a great stat.
And so, I think that whether folks on their first venture and they say, hey, I don't want to take the long and hard road, I'm hopeful that they can hear an interview like this and pick up some things. Or whether you're on your fifth venture and you're like, all right, I get it, I'm there. I want some partnership. I would love to, like, have more of a listening ear on how to go about it. Then I think having investment partners or just like an advisory board of, like, thought leaders with you, I think it can be super helpful.
All the difference, going to school on somebody else's mistakes, right? All
That's
the difference.
well said.
That's
well said.
Well, I want to do two things kind of in closing. Number one, I want to make sure people know how they can kind of contact you. And number two, I think it's really important for us to share with people who we want to talk to, not as a way of restricting that, but also restricting who can reach out, but also just really extending a hand to the people who we actually deeply care to have conversations with. And I'm not framing that very well, but I think I think anyone would get the sentiment. Like, Mitch mentioned that we are looking to help women, people of color, brown and, how do you frame it?
Black and brown.
Black and brown folks, right? Who are looking to get financial support for the things that they built or they're building. So I really encourage you to reach out to Mitch at the locations that he'll share himself and also myself, which, if you're reaching out to me as it relates to venture, my email address is rashad@highstreetequity.com, and we'll share it in the show notes and in the description. But you want to kind of share the places that people can kind of contact you if they want to?
If you're interested in your company looking to have an investment partner at High Street, I would encourage you to go to the website, highstreetequity.com. And on that site, you can quickly pitch your business. I think that's the best place. And from there, we do a pretty good job at, like, scheduling the intro call and things like that I mentioned. If you're looking to, and also the companies on, like, LinkedIn and Instagram at High Street Equity. And if you're looking to connect with me personally, email Mitch at highstreetequity.com, similar as Rashad. And would be happy to talk to anyone, man, and to chop it up.
This felt too short. A part two, I'm sure, coming soon, hopefully in another location where we can kind of... DC. There is a team that is a fantastic group of folks. Tristan should definitely join our next conversation. Man, but I appreciate you
no doubt
coming here to do this.
It's good to be, like I say, New Orleans is one of my favorite cities in the country. Sincerely, the trip was short.
Yeah,
but
you gotta sweat. Man, this is a good episode. I appreciate it again, Mitch, and we appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you back here soon for another episode of Stay Sharp. Check the Rare Label channels for whatever we might be dropping. Make sure you subscribe and also click the alerts or alarms or however that goes so that you get prompted anytime we drop something else new. Until then, we'll holler at you.
All right, take care.
All right, bye.